The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by Mid Carolina Service Company.
Mid Carolina Service Company is the first name to search for your residential or commercial HVAC needs in Lexington and surrounding areas.
Just go holler at Jason and Clint. They'll hook you up on the air conditioners, on the restaurant equipment, refrigerators, refrigeration, ice machine repair. They've been doing this for years. I know them cats forever.
Family owned and operated since 2006, they pride themselves in their quality work and customer relationships. Call 803-356-4153 or visit midcarolinaserviceco.com for a no obligation quote for service today. This episode of Hilltop Glove Podcast is brought to you by the Simon Marketing Agency, turning ordinary business into extraordinary one since 2020. Simon James and his team do the hard work of attracting new customers so you can focus on making your business exceptional. As a brand marketing expert, Simon specializes in creating a unique and unforgettable identity for your business. From generating awareness to captivating content creation and strategic advertising, Simon Marketing Agency has you covered. Elevate your business today. Give them a call at 843-942-8880 or email them at simon@smasimon.com. Visit them at www.simonmarketing.agency. Make sure to follow them on Instagram at BrandSimonTV.
This episode of the Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by Bob's. Bob's is a Columbia-based retailer of over 100 Black-owned products from 20 Black-owned businesses. Bob's offers a wide range of items from household cleaning, cosmetics, and everything in between. With every visit to Bob's, you support Black-owned businesses, giving them the opportunity to grow and establish connections with our community. Bob's is located inside the Noma warehouse at 2222 Sumter Street in Columbia, South Carolina. Visit their website, shopbobs.com for in-store pickup or to find out more. Bob's can also be found via social media on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at We Shop Bob's. When you stop by, tell them the Hilltop Glove sent you. Bob's brings quality Black brands to the Columbia community. The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by True Brilliance Entertainment.
True Brilliance is a production, promotions, and management company dedicated to connecting artists and producers across the Carolinas to music industry professionals.
Several of their clients have placements both domestic and internationally as a result of their services.
Are you an artist or producer looking to build meaningful relationships within the music industry? Then True Brilliance is for you. Check them out at paramilitary.com. That's spelled P-A-I-R-A military.com.
Welcome to the Hilltop Glove Podcast.
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 The Hilltop Glove Podcast.
Welcome to the Hilltop Glove Podcast. In this episode, we are thrilled to introduce Miss Valinda Miller, the visionary owner of Turning Page Bookstore, a Black-owned brick-and-mortar bookstore in South Carolina. Located at 604 James Avenue, Suite I in Goose Creek, this literary gem has been a beacon for book lovers and community advocates since its inception in June 2014. Originally rooted in Seneca, South Carolina, the bookstore has flourished from its current Goose Creek location, fostering a space where curiosity thrives and connections are forged. Stepping into Turning Page Bookshop, and you'll be greeted by the comforting sense of coffee and tea, setting the stage for a memorable literary experience. The carefully curated selection of books caters to diverse tastes and ages, ensuring that there's something for everyone, from classic literature aficionados to fans of the latest releases. Beyond being a book lover's paradise, the bookstore serves as a hub for community engagement, hosting book clubs, author events, and engaging storytime sessions for children, all designed to enrich the minds and hearts of visitors. In essence, Turning Page Bookshop is more than a bookstore. It's a vibrant community hub that celebrates local voices and fosters a love for literature. With its inclusive environment, diverse offerings, and engaging programs, This bookstore invites you to immerse yourself in the joy of reading while connecting with fellow book enthusiasts. Join us in exploring the world of Turning Page Bookshop, where every page turned is an opportunity for discovery and connection. How are you doing today, Miss Miller?
Tired.
I love the honesty.
Like
I love
every
it.
entrepreneur I know.
I love it.
Well, see, I've been up since 4:30.
Yeah,
That's an every day. So I have to get up and walk the dog.
gotcha.
Make sure, because I don't want no stains around my house, even though there's already stains around my house, so you can't avoid that.
Yeah.
Then I have to get online to make sure I update the website, make sure the social media of the store is, up and running, unless I have to work overtime for my full-time job.
Oh,
What's your full-time job?
I work for the federal government in the payroll office.
Okay.
okay. Excellent. Well, we're happy to have you here today. We appreciate you dealing with our little delay that we had this morning. I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to bring this closer to you because I want to get everything you're saying. Right here. And then we always like to start off with each episode, and I always like to hit this with the baseline of what our podcast is about. I know we were discussing this earlier, but as millennials, one thing we understand is that we never have a strict guideline book and or resource to tell us how to be successful when it comes to different I guess you could say professions, businesses, or et cetera. And so one of the main reasons for the podcast is to speak with folks that we think are doing a good job, or at least making it look like they're doing a good job. Because sometimes people make it seem easier than what it is at being successful, either being an entrepreneur or working in a specific profession, so that folks that listen to it can say, hey, you know what, this is something I can do. And so for millennials, this is almost like a big Rolodex. And so we try to then also humanize the individuals. And so we like to ask these simple questions to begin.
Sure.
So who or what influenced you growing up?
My grandmother. Growing up in Washington, D.C., I was about 6 or 7, and she walked me the 4 blocks to the neighborhood library.
Oh, wow.
And I walked in that library, and, my whole body just shook. My eyes just went up in the air, and I went, oh, my God. And my grandmother was so happy to see that expression on my face. So after a couple of years, she allowed me to walk there by myself. And growing up kind of poor, some of the librarians in there, they saw me come in there and go to the water fountain, and they started bringing me cookies and milk. Aww. And I thought that was so sweet of them. And I found out years later that my grandmother, who was born and raised in Athens, Georgia, was not allowed to go into a library because she was black. So when I found that out, other than getting pissed and cussing out everybody, I said, no, I'm going to stay into the world of books. So I followed what the parents said and, the grandparents said, get a full-time job and do your side stuff.
Yep.
So I volunteered at libraries, worked part-time at bookstores, attended all kinds of book festivals, and just kept going with the love of books and try to get books in, not just in adults' hands. Sometimes it's a little late to get into their hands, but sometimes me and my manager can drag them in. But I got to get them in the kids' hands.
That's so smart. Yes, very true, very true. So, of course, you're breaking down that story. Do you remember, as yourself as a reader and talking about children, what age did you fall in love with? You were reading a book, first book that you read that made you really go, I like reading. Because for some people, reading is a chore. And they feel like it's something that they only do when they're asked to do it because of school purposes.
Well, I mean, I love stories.
See?
But I'm dyslexic as hell.
So,
reading is very difficult
it's a job. Yeah, so it's a job.
Well, here's the thing, and I learned this so many years ago. You cannot put the book in the kids' or an adult's hand and get them to read it. You got to ask them what they want and what they're doing and what's going on with their life.
Okay.
You find out what's going on. So when I see kids and they go, I don't want to read, I say, well, what kind of TV show do you like? What cartoons do you like? So the kids that's coming into my store now, they're teenagers, they're getting between 12 and 15, and, they're in there because the parent says, oh, God, I got to come in here. And so what I do is I'll walk around and show them graphic novels.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Because it's
Visual.
comic books.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like
It's
that.
visual,
Yeah.
but it still has words.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then if I can get them to read that, they'll come back and go, okay, I like the words now. I want to read something else.
Right.
And so I find books not only visually appealing to them, but it's something that they can understand. Like, I'm not going to give a 16-year-old kid maybe a Ryan Kennedy's romance book. I know
That's what they want.
I know that's what they want. They want romance.
Yeah,
they want to
do.
be in love.
They do.
And I keep telling them Cinderella's dead. And we have a book out called Cinderella's Dead. You know, come on, that bitch had to go. That bitch had to go.
Listen, I love
And so the 16-year-old, I'm going to give them Sarah Maas. I'm going to give them paranoia. I'm going to give them fantasy. I'm going to give them, there's a book out, Delicious. There's 2 black characters on the front, and she look like she's a vampire, and there's the pages look like it's torn, but they're going through something. And so when they sit down and go, what are they going through? I said, that's your job to tell me what they're going through.
You good.
You tell me what's going on, and did that kid down the street bother you? Yeah, he did. I don't like that kid in my class. Why? So I try to find books that they can relate to them.
I like
Okay.
that. You
The
meet
here and
them
now.
where they are.
Where they are. You got to give people what they want where they are.
Yeah.
Because this COVID knocked us out.
It did. No, speak on it. Yeah, it did.
It just
Really
knocked
did.
us out, and the kids and the literacy just went way down. Way down, and they're still struggling now in school. Unfortunately, South Carolina is number 3 behind Mississippi and Alabama.
God damn it. Just got the accent with it, too. DC don't care.
Mississippi.
Yeah, man.
Because Mississippi guy came to my store one day. You got books in here? Uh-huh, I got books.
I got books. Just magazines, bro. I got books.
This is what he said. I came in here because my wife, she's at, the Sweet Frog, and I just came in here to got some books. And I said, who you getting the books for?
Yeah.
I don't know, what you want me to give? I said, well, I got a whole section of used books. I said, well, I guess you a John Wayne fan, aren't you? How you knows about John Wayne? I said, you's a John Wayne fan, don't you?
Yeah.
I said, I know you like that Republican, don't you? He was a good man. I said, I know he was. Let me get you to buy some Zane Grey.
Oh, my Lord Jesus.
So we have some Zane Grey used books.
Yeah.
And he looks at me, where you get Zane Grey from? I said, don't worry about where I got it from. You a Zane Grey guy? He left, I likes you. You ain't like them other folks. I said, no.
So are you good at reading people?
Yeah.
Oh, I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell.
I like that.
Yeah. He just, let me tell you, his wife came in there. His wife is a big reader.
Okay.
She's always coming in there looking for the Jack Reacher books, the John Grisham. Because we have a huge used book section.
Okay.
And she hadn't watched Jack Reacher on Netflix yet.
Oh, okay.
And I asked her, did she watch it? And she said, well, I know Tom Cruise played Jack Reacher. I said, no.
Tom Cruise is terrible at that.
He tried.
Right.
Tom.
It's
I don't care
different.
how much lifts they put in his shoes.
Be quiet. Be quiet. She really pulled that. She said them lifts.
No, that's not. I've met Tom Cruise.
Okay.
Tom Cruise, Sylvester Stallone, and Wesley Snipes, they're not taller than me.
Good gracious.
Okay? So don't go there.
Jack Reacher, huge.
I know.
Jack Reacher is a big guy. And, he's a rough guy, and he's very, he's eternal, he's kind of low-key and quiet, so I
didn't
told
work.
the lady,
Yeah.
I said, don't look at Jack Reacher yet, the one on Netflix.
Yeah.
And the husband goes, well, I like that kind of movie. And I said, I know you do. You like, Fast Five, right? The
She calls him. She
I love
calls
that
him.
movie.
You got Fast Five, the book.
you like that. He said, I said, I really like you. You're a good one. You're a good one. I said, thank you. Now, I'm not in there every day. My manager works there every day, and I try to get there on weekends, on Saturdays. So the stories she tells me when she gets home,
Wow.
it's just amazing the amount of people in there. But the bottom line is, find out what they like in here.
Okay.
And then you can find out what book they can read. And once you get a book in their hand, they'll never go back.
Man, I have to ask, where did you learn this skill of being such a good judge of character?
Well, my grandmother and great aunt told me I was a witch.
Oh, go ahead, preach.
Don't ask me where that came from.
Yeah.
And I grew up in an environment where my mother, she didn't raise me, my grandmother raised me, but I grew up around people who were in Vietnam,
Okay.
World War II, Black Panthers. They knew the Temptations, Marvin Gaye, Tina Turner. That environment was all inclusive black. And so I listened and watched them do their stuff, and they would always tell me, there's a game. I heard that for so many years. It's a game, Linda. It's a game. You keep saying it. It's a game. It's a game. And of course, as years go on, I'm going, it's a game.
It's a game.
It is a game. So I just had to navigate that game. And they taught me how to read people, because when you watch a group of people who have suffered, who have gone through so much hatred, you know, slavery and the discrimination. Like, I watched my mother get discriminated against by a white boss because he was sleeping with the white secretary, and my mother wasn't going to allow him to sleep with her. And I didn't know about this. Her friend told me about it.
Oh, okay.
And I started working for the federal government, and I got approached a few times. And I remember one man, older white man, ugly. I'm sitting down there in the auditorium getting ready to distribute newspapers and their PowerPoint presentation and everything. He said, "Here's my room key," and he threw it at me, and I picked it up, and I said, "Is something wrong, sir? Would you like for me to get somebody to come and pick it up?" He said, "Well, I thought you may want to come up there." I said, "Really?
Really?
You cannot afford me."
You got the wrong.
Oh, I like that response. You cannot
me.
afford me.
And I threw the keys back. Well, I'm going to go tell your boss. You can go tell whoever you want to tell.
Yep.
I am not afraid of you. Just because you, as a man, think you can sexually harass women, and they have done it, and they still do it. You think there's going to be you're going to run into that one woman, and I am it, where it's going to say, "Oh, please." That doesn't work here.
Exactly.
Because I saw it. I grew up and saw that environment. I saw the abuse. I saw how black men would come back, and they were in Vietnam, in Walter Reed Army Hospital with all kinds of issues.
Yeah.
And they would come home to their wives or girlfriend and beat up on them. And you know it's not hatred. It's what was ingrained in them and how they grew up.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the environment they were in. Because, come on now, they're coming from the South.
Yeah.
You got to read the book Cass, The Migration of Cass, by Isabel Wilkinson. And it explains the blacks coming from the South up to the North. My grandmother and her husband came from the South up to the North. And so when they get up to the North and they thinking they reach the level that they can work and be treated fairly, no. No. And here it is, 2024, and it's look like they're trying to go back to it.
Yeah.
That poor man down in Florida, Santos. He just can't help it.
Bless his heart.
Bless his heart. He
just can't.
He just don't know.
Himself. He mad.
Yeah.
He mad because he's losing.
Yep.
Ain't nobody paying attention to him.
No.
And Tim Scott, Jesus, let's pray for him too.
Oh gosh, Jesus! His office is right down the street too. He thought he would want to.
He was playing the game.
Oh Lord, the game ain't
He
work.
knew he was not going to make that ballot.
Oh, we knew. He knew it.
He knew it.
Yeah.
He wanted to stay in that group.
Yeah.
And now he is one of the 4 people that they're going to select maybe as a running mate for Trump to be the vice president. But Trump is just throwing the carrot out.
Yeah, like
That's
why?
all.
Yeah, I don't know why you would even want that position. To tell you to be the truth is I guess you would want it for the idea of power. It's not real
People
power.
got all kind of weird ways they interact with power.
Yeah, it is. It makes people act out of character too.
I don't understand herds.
And
Catch
I don't
my guard.
understand it either, because I tell him, you don't have power because you will face him, the good Lord.
Yeah.
And he's going to look at you going, you know what? I remember those couple of years ago that you were doing that. Did you really think you're going to come in here, or should I send you down to your friend? Nah, I think you should go down to your friend.
We don't need that up here.
Because you're not going to cause no confusion here.
Yeah.
I've been taking care of your friend. I know your friend better than you know your friend.
Yeah.
That's the good Lord talking to him.
Exactly.
So I don't know where it's coming from. You don't have that kind of power.
No.
If you did, you wouldn't be here on earth, would you?
That's true. That's so darn true.
You know, Jeff Bezos think he's got power. Poor man.
He ain't got no real power. He ain't got no
He
real
got
power.
money.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean.
Cannot stop death. I don't care how much money you got. You are not gonna.
Good gracious, say it again. They try.
You're gonna have to face him.
Yeah, there's this guy named Ray Kurzweil, and that's his whole mission. He created the Kurzweil keyboard and stuff, real big technologist. His thing was trying to figure out how he could curb his death until he can get to the year 2050, where he thinks that by that time we'll have technology that can keep the cell from killing itself. This is a real. This is how these people think. That's why I know what she means. These people, just because they have that, they think that they can try to defeat God at that game of death. They think they can beat it.
But they've been trying.
How far down the rabbit hole we trying to go?
Right.
I mean, she started it. She started it.
It's just that they will succeed to a certain point, and it's going to get out of control.
Yeah.
Do you have these conversations like this in your bookstore often?
Oh yeah.
I can tell. This is why you read books.
This is why people read books, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can't have a deep conversation on Instagram. You can't have a deep conversation on TikTok. I mean, a meme doesn't do that. You might get a meme that triggers something if you got enough of a shared, like, cultural media background to know the right connections there.
Yeah.
But when you do a book, when you do a big book,
yeah,
like you are taking like a slice of somebody's worldview, and so the more books you read, the more slices of worldview you get. So then you can cross those lines and interact with people. Oh, I know the proper way to greet you over here where people think this way.
Yeah.
So I have a quick question. How do you feel about the books in the education system? Like in the schools right now, I'm seeing a lot of controversy about that.
Well, I think the issue is they mad because the truth is coming out and they don't want to face the truth, even though the truth has been out there for over 100 years.
Yep.
Look here, slavery. I don't want you to make me feel guilty. I'm going to make your ass feel guilty because you're still doing it today. If you weren't doing it today,
you wouldn't feel guilty.
You wouldn't feel guilty.
Yeah.
So why don't you read about it, learn about it, and figure out, you know what? Something is wrong with the system.
Yeah.
Systematic racism.
Sick.
So start with the banning of the books.
Yeah.
Now remember, they've been banning books for over 50 years.
That's a good point. This is
know,
nothing
this
new.
is not nothing
Yeah.
They've been banning
Yeah.
books since they came out with books.
Yeah.
So they think it's control. They said, well, I don't want my child to learn this. But I don't think they understand that your child has already learned it because they got the phone.
Right.
They
Thank
got
you.
TikTok. They
Thank
got
you.
social media. You are not going to prevent your child from learning those things. I'll give you an example. My daughter, she was turning 8 or 9, and I said to her dad, okay, it's time to give her the birds and the bees conversation. And, he's a dad. He doesn't want to have that conversation with her. And he's looking at her going, I can't do this. And so he was going to ask somebody else to do it. And my grandmother told him, you should get Linda to do it. And so he says, I know, I'll get Linda to do it. I just can't do it. So I said, all right, Kendi, let's come on in the room. I put up the bulletin board. Let's go here. Let's go from this point. This is a dick. This is a vagina. This is what this means when they sitting there and they say, well, I love you. No, they don't love you. I need you to understand what sex is. It's not the act of it. I need you to understand how the person makes you feel. And so I kept that conversation going. And of course, her father was in the room. He says, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear it. Yeah. But I understand it. Because he's going to always see her. Now, she's 30 years old now. And because I was raised as a book, she was surrounded by books. And this child speaks 4 languages.
Oh, wow.
And she's overseas. And she has traveled in 7 countries.
Wow.
Yeah, she works for the same agency as I do.
Shut the front door.
Yeah, because I told her this is what you're going to do in your path. Now, once you get to that point and that college thing is paid off and you got your own damn health insurance, you can do what the hell you want. But while we're still paying for that, you're going to do what I say.
Yeah.
And that's the thing parents are not doing.
Yeah.
Parenting.
You're going to, well, I can't do that. I'm your friend. No, you're not my friend. You're my child. I'm raising you, and I got to take care of you. When you get over that threshold, you can do what the hell you want.
Yeah.
Don't bring that shit to my house, though. If you got some stuff going on, don't bring it to my house.
I like your style.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, I like your style because
No.
that's how I was raised. That's how I thought that was normal. And apparently, And this is what I'm finding out.
It's
now.
not.
There's all kind of normal.
Yeah, it's all but I thought that's how you were supposed to be. Like, you're supposed to actually parent your child. And from books that I grew up reading, and these are, I know my brother and I, we were discussing this on the way down. Like, all right, so we're millennials, and I was born in '87, and so I still get some of the effects of Generation X and the baby boomers. And so my grandmother and stuff, we used to read certain books that were old, like from the 50s and stuff. We read these books, right? And people are like, gosh, Sterling, what y'all reading? We're talking about like Boxcar Children and stuff like this, right?
Oh, yeah, I grew up
And
in
so,
that.
you read these books. No, they don't read these books no more, right?
Well, they've changed them now.
They changed
It's
them.
different-
It's a
almost
different
They're
style.
making them
now.
graphic.
Yeah. Oh, they're making them graphic?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that
Shut
the
up.
kids can come
Shut
back and
up.
read it.
Okay.
Which, like,
That's
yes.
dope. That's dope.
I know enough about. I'm not a comic book nerd, but I
Yeah.
know enough about the graphic novel world. I got some friends, and
Yeah.
there are some graphic novels that go really, really,
Really deep,
deep
yeah.
on
Yes.
some big topics.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And even like your classic DCs and Marvels and stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
the people that were writing them were really trying to muck with some things.
They were. They were giving
So,
them
like,
tips.
you know, I respect graphic novels now. I think, but I do think there is something to drawing a world in your head.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my son about this last night because he's 5, just turned 5. Captain Underpants is his first
Oh,
chapter
Captain
book with pictures in it. And then he's also
course.
got a Pokemon book. The Pokemon book has only got a picture like every 2 or 3 pages.
Oh.
And so we're starting to do that. And we were talking about drawing the pictures in your mind and stuff. And
that
yeah, I mean,
How's
it's
that
fun.
conversation
The
going?
It's
Like,
fun seeing it happen.
yeah, because it's important to be able to do that.
He will gradually go over there.
Oh yeah, I
will.
did eventually. Yeah,
He will eventually go over there.
yeah.
Because it's a muscle that you have to train. And that's one thing I learned from reading books like that, is that there's a muscle in your mind that you can use and train that allows you to deal with but also create your reality.
Right.
Well, maybe now you understand why they want to turn this country into the Handmaid's Tale.
Right.
Oh, I like you.
Like
Go ahead.
Fahrenheit 451.
Go ahead.
I know they made the movie with, what's his name, Michael Jordan.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I love Michael Jordan, especially from Black Panther.
Yeah.
He didn't need to make that movie, okay? Let's get out of that movie.
I like your
I
opinion.
know, I'm kind of judgmental.
I like it. That was good. Because, yeah.
The original movie came out the book came out in 1960.
That's my point. Yeah, these are.
Ray Bradbury, who also wrote Star Trek.
Yep, and I love Star Trek.
Okay, my whole
fault.
family,
Yeah.
my daughter and her dad are Marvel fans and
Yeah.
Star Trek
Yeah,
fans and
yeah.
Doctor Who.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fan. I just became the Doctor Who.
They got
fan.
you on it? Okay.
Yeah, they got me on it, but
Yeah.
I only like David Tennant. Let's move on.
David Tennant's the best.
He's the best. I only like David
But they
Tennant.
have to change him.
Well,
He doesn't die, but no.
I will. Spoiler alert. There is a little David Tennant pop back in this new one that's out right
That's
now.
the new one that's
Yeah.
out.
Ooh.
Yeah. He pops back for just a
I'll
little
have to
bit.
check it out.
Yeah.
Now
Okay,
they
go
brought a
ahead.
woman in.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the new doctor.
Yeah, I
is a
saw
black
that.
man.
I know. I watched it, but I understood the story, like what it's supposed to. I was like, okay,
it too.
go ahead.
And I know they want to be diverse.
They
Yes.
do.
Right.
They do.
Yeah.
But the diversity sometimes has gone a little bit too goddamn far.
Preach.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's just a little too far.
Preach. We got a little
Okay.
story to keep with.
But I was talking about something else, and I'm sorry. Handmaid's Tale,
Yes.
Fahrenheit
Yeah.
451.
Yep.
Fahrenheit was made in 1960, produced in 1960, and it's about what happens when you burn the books of everybody in that city, and you put TV screens up there, and they're only allowed to look at the TV screen, and they control what's on the TV screen. And that's what they're trying to do here.
Yep.
I promote that book all the time and talk about it and explain to people, and they sometimes it would click and they go, that seems like what they're doing now.
Yeah. Make everything visual.
This has happened before.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
happens in every empire.
Yeah.
They do it
Yeah.
at some point. They lock everything down, and then everything
And the
falls
Handmaid's
apart.
Tale is what's going on now with the abortion and the embryo being a child. You know, the Republicans, they're just a different, I don't know what world they're in.
Different breed.
And so the Handmaid's Tale is a way to control the births, right? How many children you can have.
Right.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is they're mad because the last 50 years, the children are not white. You know, there was a time where if you have a drop of blood of black in you, you're black.
Black. Yeah.
There's no such thing. Now they got all kinds of bloods in them.
Yep. They all mixed
Okay,
up.
they all mixed up.
Yep.
And you are not going to go back and create a European society. It's over.
Yeah.
You should have thought about that 50 years ago.
Yeah.
You should have thought about that 400 years ago.
Okay,
You
yeah.
should have
When
kept
you
your ass
started.
in your country and leave those people alone. you wouldn't have had this problem. You wouldn't.
Because once you started, you can't stop it.
You can't stop it.
Yeah.
I'm blaming you. So when they say
Everybody's gonna look like you.
you say I'm guilty, yeah, you guilty. Your ass shouldn't have gone over there 400 years ago.
Yeah,
Nobody asked you to go over there.
Yeah.
Yours was just pure greed.
Yep.
You didn't want to do the work yourself.
Economics.
Like right now, you don't even want to clean the toilets, but you want the Hispanics and other people to clean the toilets.
And then when you don't even want them to come over.
And now you don't want them to come over, but you don't want to clean your own toilet.
Yeah.
Gotta clean your toilet.
It don't make sense.
Clean your own
Say it.
toilet.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
Make sense.
Make it make sense.
America.
I don't get that. Sam on Vibe Check always says, make it make sense.
That's the truth. You gotta make it make sense. But that goes back to your point of when you're attempting to control the reality through media.
Or any means.
But
media is what we're messing with right now.
That's where we're at
Right.
with media.
Yeah.
Book, print, film, whatever it may be. It's easy to think that you're able to actually have control when you can't.
No.
And I think, like you said earlier, and this is going back when you said, I like this concept, I like how this is
Right.
going along. The cat is out of the bag.
Yeah.
These children already have phones, right? And this is one of the things that gets me kind of worried about is because how crazy is crazy? And what I mean by that is how far will they go? Because in The Handmaid's Tale, in Fahrenheit 451, watching how far people will go in order to have control. Like, do they have a limit of mendacity that'll be like, all right, you know what, this is too far, we aren't going to go there? Or are they willing to go to the nth degree and say, you know what, we'll destroy everything if we can't have it our way?
Some people, sure.
And that's what I'm worried about.
Well, remember now, you're talking about what's going on now and what came in the 1960s. This has been going on for millennia. I mean, look at the Roman Empire.
True.
Caesar was so pissed, and his buddies turned on him.
Yeah.
And they turned on everybody else.
Yeah.
They would go to different countries, right? And not only, kill everybody, but make sure the soil would never grow anything else again.
Yeah, they'd poison the soil.
They would poison the soil, right? So what happened to them?
Never know.
They just fade out. It's like every country or every millennial or every couple of 100 years, they don't like what's going on, so they want to
erase everything.
They want to erase it. The problem is, the more you try to erase it, the more the truth comes out. The truth you can never hide. I don't care what you do. Oh, I'm not going to do that no more. But eventually, it's going to come out, and you're going to get caught.
Yep. I agree. And I think that goes back to the importance of what we're talking about just with reading and the ability to read and be able to investigate. Because reading to me is almost like investigation. You go and you find information, you absorb that information, you match it against what you have. And one of the things I had to learn, and I really learned this during 2020 because I had time to sit, and even before then I was starting to do it, but I really got it. I have to listen to information and read things that I disagree with.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
That was hard to do. It was hard because, of course, I was there at the beginning of the social media. YouTube just started in 2005. Facebook was a new thing. We were one of the first colleges that could join in. I was at College of Charleston. We got on a little Facebook. I was trying to get into MySpace. All this other new stuff was popping up. And what I realized is that I could just listen to the stuff that I only agreed with. I could read the stuff that I only agreed with. When I got recommendations for books, it was just the books that I agreed with. So
that's what the algorithm does really good. Is
so
it pigeonholes.
if you're doing that and they doing it,
say it.
You're not going to.
There's no middle ground.
There's no middle ground. So you got to read what you don't want to read.
How do you look, that's hard. All right, so because like for our audience, because they're gonna listen to this and be like, all right, so they're asking, so how do you do it? Like because I know you own a bookstore, and it was interesting the story you were telling us at the beginning, how you were telling the gentleman what he wanted to read.
Yeah.
How do you know he wanted to read that? How did you know?
Because he just wanted to. He walked in there because his wife was in another store, so he thought he would kill time. But he didn't know he was going to run into a conversation with me.
Yes, you're different.
And then he goes,
you're different.
And then we started talking, and that's because I'm trying to pull him in, to get him to understand. That man spent $100.
Oh,
wow.
And he said, I likes you. I likes you. And
how did you know about the books, though? The culture, like, have you read those books before?
Yeah.
See, that's my point.
I grew up in an environment in Washington, D.C., where we didn't have no choice but to read books. We didn't get a TV until I was 10 or 11 years old. And even then, I was restricted.
Okay.
My dog, I have a dog. His name is Perry Mason.
Oh, I love Perry Mason.
He's a hound dog. And the reason I named him Perry Mason is because when I was growing up, I was only allowed to look at Perry Mason because my grandmother, my mother, my great aunt loved Perry Mason.
Oh.
So when they would do my hair, or I would be sitting there reading a book, and Perry Mason would come on like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they have to fix dinner, I have to sit there and watch Perry Mason. To this day, I am still hooked on Perry Mason.
Dang. That's what they did to
It's
me.
like
Yeah.
engraved in you.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's because when they were watching that, you know, it's like a cozy mystery. You knew the person was killed. You
Yeah.
knew who was
Yeah.
going to kill them,
Yeah.
and it was a calmer Law and Order.
It was.
It was just a calmer Law and Order. Then 2 years ago, they remade Perry Mason.
Yeah. That's interesting. I didn't check
On
that yet.
HBO.
Yeah.
My friend said, "Oh, Valinda, I know you love Perry Mason. Would you going to watch it on HBO?" I said, "Well, let me look it up." And I said, "Why do they have a black guy playing Paul Drake?" She said, "Well, you know, we're trying to get into the no,
That's weird,
no,
yo. It's
no,
weird.
no.
It's weird.
You know, you're always trying to remake stuff without looking at the backstory of what you're trying to
Oh,
remake."
I like how you
That's
talk
a really
about it. I like
interesting-
how you talk.
Yeah.
And this came up for me when they were talking about Idris Elba doing James Bond.
Yeah.
And I always thought Idris Elba would be a great action hero. But James Bond's backstory
It's not.
was this orphan that grew up in
Yes.
the Ivy Leagues of Britain and could blend into that atmosphere, even though he wasn't.
Yep. How does that make sense?
And how do you do that with Idris Elba now without just like being like, oh, racism doesn't exist anymore and he can just fit in anywhere?
It's
Because that's not real.
They're trying to push it. They're trying to
Yeah.
push it too
And
hard.
you cannot. They wanted to put Idris Elba
Yeah.
right in the new Bond. No,
Yeah.
No, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
Make him his own Bond.
Thank you. That's what Luther was. Make it a movie.
No. As a
fault. I
matter
like
of
Luther.
fact,
I like Luther.
the guy who Ian Fleming, he must have 5 or 6 characters, and Idris Elba could be one of them.
Really?
Yes.
No, he does.
Yeah,
You're
he's
right.
got
It's
James
what-
Bond.
Yeah,
He's got Luther, another Luther. This man has been writing books. Well, I know he's dead now.
Yeah.
For over 30 years. They could have found another book for Idris Elba.
They
Yeah.
just didn't.
You know, they could have found another book for Tom Cruise instead of Jack Reacher.
Yeah.
Stop playing Tom
You know,
Cruise
they got-
self.
So I mean, like, this is part of like how the media Hollywood culture is just like chasing down a thing to grab and
Reel them in. Reel them in.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Exactly.
let's use Idris Elba. We can put him on the poster. It'll be
Boom.
good.
Everybody was freaking out of Bridgerton, right? Oh my God!
Oh,
did you see
yeah.
Bridgerton?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love
they
that.
were.
And
They
I would
were.
come to work. Oh, Valinda, did you know Bridgerton? And everything. And then my daughter called me up. Mommy, oh my God, me and Janelle and all of us, we watching Bridgerton. I'm going, okay.
Richardson.
And she got quiet. And then I didn't say nothing. All right, Mommy, tell me what's going on. Kendi, the book came out in 2012 by Julia Quinn. It's a book? It's an 8-book, 10-book series. And that's because Rhines read those books. She has always
Thank
been a
you.
big reader.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
she put her
Yep.
spin on it. Granted, some of the characters are black, and they could have been, because Julia Quinn didn't necessarily have colors.
Yeah.
Hers was just about the Viscount and the drama and the soap opera. So she put that in. That's why everybody loved Bridgerton. They didn't realize that
It's
the
a
book came
well-written
out
book.
15 years ago.
Yep.
My daughter calls me up again. Oh, Mommy, Zendaya, I think that's her name, right?
Yeah.
She's in the movie Dune.
Oh, don't play with
And
that.
that's just so great, Mommy. And I'm going,
1965.
I said, okay.
Dune is one of my favorite series of all
Yep.
time.
It was one of the first things I got to read on science fiction. I was talking to my brother about this because it was bothering me. People just thought this was something new. I was like, no, this is very old, but it's so deep and complex. And it talks about AI and technology,
Man,
the role of it in
Dune
society.
is about look at
Yes,
imperialism.
yes.
Dune is about like unmake all
And
that,
that book
shit.
came out in 1960.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
Animal Farm.
Come on.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a good question, and we have a question about good books. Like, what are some of the characteristics of a good book? Can you name an underrated book that you've come across? But before I ask you this, before you answer that, rather, I want to know, why was, in your opinion, because you can probably give me better insight, I was very in love with books from the 60s. Those books seem to have so much depth in them and the way that they attempt to break down and look at society, that I catch myself going back to revisit those books as opposed to picking up new books.
Absolutely.
And it's weird because I'm like, well, we got all this access to everything and I can read these new books and et cetera and get them quickly. Why am I still reading this old book? And I'm trying to understand, is it because the writing was better back then, which I don't think is a real thing? It can be good anywhere. Or is it just because of the subject matter that they were dealing with at the time? What is your opinion on that?
No, it's what you're feeling at that time. I read Valley of the Dolls when I was about 13 or 14. Of course, that was, oh my God. My grandma go, what are you doing reading Valley of the Dolls? That's what's scary. That came out in the 60s. You know, rape, incest, oh my God, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, Jacqueline Suzanne, who wrote that book, was writing it based on what was going on in her life at the time.
Okay.
Jackie Collins, who wrote all the the Lucky Santiago books, she was writing based on what was going on in Hollywood. James Baldwin's book was written on what was going on during his lifetime. The kids that are writing the books now, I call them kids, anybody under 40, that are writing the books now, they're writing books as to what's going on now with them, which may not relate to you.
Yeah.
Good point.
Okay? I read a lot of the teen books, me and Errol Lee, only because we want to know what's going on.
Gotta stay up to date.
So that when a kid comes in, we understand it. Now, Errol Lee listens to them more often. She listens to the kids' book. I like to read the books that are out that Netflix is trying to remake, like Jack Reacher, John Grisham, and all of those books.
Yeah.
I try to read the romance books because I got a lot of women coming in between the ages of 40 and 60. They want romance, but they want the romance that they had 20 years ago.
Oh, so you got to find that
you
relate
break
to them.
stuff down.
Oh.
Yeah.
They want that romance.
Yeah.
You know, they want the Harlequin romance books.
Okay.
Now, it was this small, and, they were in love, and he had a ranch, or she had something, and they had to separate, and
I've read a couple of those.
Period stuff.
They got back
crap my mom
together,
used to read.
and by the time they kiss, it's the last page.
Yep.
Okay.
I love the timing.
Yeah.
Timing's always good.
And that's Hallmark today.
Okay.
That's Hallmark today. Now, HBO?
I like how you put that boom. I thought you
Yes.
blew my mind. It blew my mind.
It's a different
And
vibe.
entirely different. So you got women, they want both. Okay? So a lot of the romance books that's coming out in the last 2 or 3 years, and it's because they feel it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It resonates, or whatever you word you
Resonate.
want to say.
Resonate.
Resonate
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah.
They understand it. They feel it. They love it. Like Brenda Jackson. She's got about 40 books out, but the book that even got me was The Westmoreland Men.
Okay.
And it's a series of books, and it's about romance. But the way she wrote the book, you're going, wait a minute, did this happen? Wait a minute, did this happen? Wait a minute now. She's got you.
Yeah.
This woman has a cruise twice a year, and it is always booked, solid. And there's always a line to get on.
What's going on this cruise? The cruise. I tell my wife all the time.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, I'm about to get. I know what she's talking about with the books. I was like, I didn't know there was a cruise attached to this.
Oh, yeah, there's a cruise.
Blew my mind
yeah.
again.
Brenda
If,
Jackson.
if you like this
So-
cross,
I know Brenda Jackson. I know what she's talking about. There's a
So
cruise.
you need to find a book that you can understand now. The writing, I think some of the writings
It's
are
good.
good, but some of the writers are the worst I've ever seen. Oh my God.
Do you think the bar is low of entry into being a novelist now?
I think what it is, everybody says, well, I wrote a book from my heart. And I wrote a book because God told me to write that.
Okay.
They do.
And I feel it can help somebody. And I look at them going, how?
And that's a big difference because I know some professional writers,
That's
and
what I wondered.
it's like it's a craft, and they hone in on it. And it might be this story, but I've got to figure out how to do my craft right to tell this story, and that's different.
That is different because, and I know we were talking about Jeff Bezos earlier. I mean, Amazon did create a situation where almost like with hip hop music.
Oh yeah, we're gonna put out a book, right?
Yeah, we can put a book.
Yeah, we're going to.
Yeah, we're gonna
It's
put
gonna
out a
happen.
book. Yeah, we're gonna put out a book. But our book's gonna be
it's gonna be
different.
pictures.
It's gonna be pictures. about podcasts.
But,
yeah.
but you can.
Yeah, but you can. You can take and publish.
You can get a book published on Amazon
Yep.
24/7.
Yep.
So what's the process of showcasing the book?
Yeah.
Going to different cities, signing.
That's
You,
something.
as the author, have to do that.
pay
Because
somebody.
before the COVID, the publishers would, send you out there and advertise your book. But after COVID, money started to go down and they couldn't afford to send you. So you got a book out on Amazon and you come to me and you say, well, my book is on Amazon. I said, well, you need to go to Ingram Sparks, which is the second largest book publisher next to Amazon.
Okay.
And so they can publish your book and you get a better discount because Amazon will change their discount.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
One day your book will be $20 and the next day Amazon will cut it down to 10.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah.
You don't get,
yeah.
you don't get say on it. You don't,
No.
Oh.
What?
You don't get a say on it. So, and then on top of that, you don't advertise that your book is even there.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't tell people where your book is, what your book is about, they'll never get there. That's why I'm on social media, on TikTok. Now, I know there was a few TikToks where I was pissed about that butter. That butter was pissing me off. I know. Four goddamn sticks of butter at $7.85. That just pissed me off.
Now I got bad. Butter and eggs
Yeah, it's
Butter.
a lot.
Here?
Yeah.
went up.
Yeah.
$7.
My wife uses butter.
I use a
obviously.
lot of butter,
and I
but it's
tell
been a
her,
couple weeks 'cause I keep
yo,
it stocked.
$8 for some butter. I'm like,
Four
Nisha,
sticks of
no.
butter.
you ain't using butter this week. And I love butter. I'm a
When
butter
it got
man.
over 4, I thought it was ridiculous.
Nah, it kept going up.
Oh, it keeps going up.
Yeah, especially if you want to actually get real, like actual butter.
Yes.
Yeah, actual
Yeah,
butter.
because after COVID, I keep about 4 boxes, and so it's been about a month since
See,
I've been shopping for butter.
that's why you ain't looking at it. My
Price-
dad used to tell me
the
to buy it
price
and
has
freeze
gone
it.
up.
And all right, so in speaking about books, we're talking about specifically getting books out. We're talking about Amazon and publishing, etc. Something that's very important about books people don't get, and this is this question that I really want to get onto before we have to wrap up, is community gathering. Because creating a space where book enthusiasts can gather and explore new literary treasures is not easy. Every reader has their own favorite book that speaks to them on a personal level, and that's actually the beauty of literature. It has the power to touch our hearts in unique ways. Can you tell us more about how your community events, like your book signings, launches, and meet and greets operate, and how has the community responded to your presence since opening your store in 2014?
Okay, well, the store in 2014 was in Seneca, South Carolina.
That's-
I bought the store from somebody. And
Okay.
after a couple of years, I looked around and said, these people don't want no bookstore.
Okay.
Seneca, when you said Seneca, I was like, oh,
I know,
wow.
right? Yeah, that's because we know. Yeah.
Yeah, I know some people.
They didn't
Yeah,
want
there.
KKK County.
Yeah, you're right. I was waiting to hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You're right.
One of them came into the store. Oh, yeah, he came in there. Well, I said, oh, you know what? I'm from D.C.
We not gonna do
We
that.
gotta do that today. Wrap that up. Go the other way.
D.C. I'm not afraid of you.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, you want to fight? We'll fight. And he left. But they just didn't want a book. So
Yeah.
I said, I'm closing this store and moving it. And I was just going to close it and not get back into the business because running a bookstore is freaking hard.
Explain
I
that.
would imagine.
Elaborate so that our
Okay,
audience
first
can
of all,
understand.
the rents have gone up.
Yeah. Yeah.
The place I had before, the rent was like $2,000. And the one I had down the street, by the time the third year came, that rent was up $4,500.
Shut
What?
the front Lord
And
Jesus.
as a bookstore, that means I have to make not only the amount for rent, I have to make the payroll. I have
Payroll.
to pay the sales taxes,
Yeah.
the unemployment taxes, the Social Security taxes. I got to pay for the inventory.
You gotta sell drugs.
I got to damn near sell drugs.
That's ridiculous.
God.
There's a lot of things that you have to pay for before you can make a profit.
Yeah.
I got to sell a certain amount of books. So when these local authors come in and say, can you sell my book? And I tell them no, because I can't order it from Ingram. And if
Yeah.
it doesn't sell in a certain amount of time, return it to Ingram so I can get
money.
my money back.
Right.
Do you have to pay anything for that?
No, I
Okay.
don't. But
Okay.
I'd rather order, James Patterson's book, because I know his book is going to
Sell.
sell.
Gonna sell.
It's going.
You
It's
know,
going.
some of the books that's coming out, I know it's going to sell because I'm going to go online and talk about it. And then they'll ask me, can you talk about my book? And I said, I've never read your book. But you should go online and social
Right.
media and talk
Sell
about
your
your book
book.
because you're the best person to talk about.
Yeah.
It's expensive. Now, the landlord I have now, the rent is about $2,500, and I have been behind rent. That's why I have a GoFundMe.
I
because-
donated.
Thank you.
Yes, sister.
I
Yes,
thank
sister.
you.
Yes.
And it's hard because last year for a lot of small businesses, it was rough.
Yeah.
It was, even Walmart.
Last year was the first year we were back open.
Even
That's
Walmart
what
and
people
Target
realize.
had a struggle.
Yep.
You know when Walmart and Target has a struggle, you know the small business is going to have a struggle.
Even
Yeah.
worse, yeah.
And it's not that the people don't want to buy; they couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I had to figure out a way to lower the price on my books. Luckily for me and my manager, she's a retiree.
Okay.
And I work full time. So if we get paid a little bit of money per month, because IRS says I got to be paid somewhere in
Yeah,
that store,
yeah.
that's fine. We can survive on that because we're not there to make money. But I got to lower the price of the books so they can come in there. I got to offer game night. We're going to have game night, puzzle night. We have wine and cheese.
Smart. Yeah, I saw that. That's so cool.
And
Yeah.
we're going to have other things in there. I've asked a guy to come in there to have a finance class session.
Yes.
Oh.
Because you got the space.
Yeah.
We got the space. The Camino Coffee is coming in there in about 2 weeks.
Ooh.
So I got to bring more stuff in there.
Yeah.
But I'm on the Budgetnista Dave Ramsey plan. I got to pay cash
Yeah.
because I'm still paying for that debt,
Yeah.
and I'm still working a full-time job. And you asked me about balance. I don't have a choice. So when people say, we got to have work balance, okay, I'm getting tired of that. Okay? Well, no. You got to have a job.
Yeah, you
you're
do.
going to have to work,
You do.
work 40 hours a week, or unless you're rich,
Yeah.
or 32 hours a week. And if you don't like your job, apply for another job someplace else.
Yeah.
But you don't have a choice.
Yeah, not
you
that
got to get up
luxury.
in the morning time, go to work, and take care of your family.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to take care of your family, don't be having no kids.
Right.
Good.
Right.
What Michael Jackson say?
You know,
You can't feed
don't
your
be doing
baby.
that.
They don't have a baby.
Like when my
Yeah.
daughter was born, my grandmother and my great aunt looked at Lionel and says, "Your life is now over." He said, "What do you mean?" Pointing to our daughter. That's your life. Don't mess that up because see, we're old enough. We can go to hell and go die, and we're gonna take you with us.
But that's a good fact because a
That's
lot
a
of
good
people
fact.
who are having kids now don't realize that your life is
Yeah.
over. Like
It's
it's not
over.
about you no more. It will never be
not.
about you.
It cannot be about you. You
No.
got to take care of this human being,
Yeah.
and you got to take care of yourself so you can take care of this human being.
But getting an hour that's about you is harder damn enough.
Yes. Yes. No, you ain't
So
lying.
you will find the book that fits you. Just come into the store, talk to me or Aaron Lee. We'll find the book that fits you.
And do you have any upcoming events that we can?
As a matter of fact, we having Chef Darren Campbell on the 23rd.
Okay.
Hey.
He's the one that got the Gullah palmetto.
Yeah.
spices out.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Bakari Sellers is coming in April.
Hey.
The Cozy Mysteries coming in back in September.
Okay.
And we just had Rashonda Tate, which wrote the book on Hattie McDaniel, the Queen of Sugar Hill.
She wrote. Oh, you had her in the
Yeah, we
bookstore.
had her at the library.
Oh gosh.
I try to
Do you
work
do-
with the
yeah,
library.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
I do try to work with the library
Okay.
and Trident because if we know we're going to have a large amount of people, Khadijah Brown, the
Needs
girl,
space.
she came to the store last year. She's coming back this year, but I may need a bigger space. 'Cause
Gotcha.
Now she's got a TV show and
Yeah.
cousins and all that. She can tell all the cousins about the show, the book
Be
signing.
like, yo, we need an auditorium.
We had her.
Yeah.
We ordered 100 books.
Uh-huh.
And we said, okay, she's going to be here. And I advertised it. People kept coming into the store buying the book. And when she came for the signing, I had 35 books left.
Wow.
Oh wow.
And I said, I'm sorry. People came in, I need a book. I am so sorry.
We're sold out.
We are sold out.
That's a blessing. Though.
And on top of that, you couldn't even get the book from Amazon because it was sold out.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah,
That's what you need, though.
That's what you
That's
need.
what you need.
Well, if we can help you promote, just send us the information, and we'll do that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, because we have to do it weekly.
Yeah.
We got to do it weekly. Today's my day to post my stuff because I was late last week. So I had to put mine on and let it roll into the week. And then I was like, I can't hit them with it two back to back because they think I'm crazy.
Yeah, you got to give them a little
wait
time.
until today to post it so they can look at it between today's time. But yeah, we will.
But you know what? That might be a good thing for us that we can start promoting before the episodes come out because you're going to have a lot of things going on before this episode even comes out.
And we can make sure we get your information about your GoFundMe because that's one of the things I was like, oh, this is so easy and it's set up so well. I read that and I looked at the story and the information in there. I was like, easy. This is a no-brainer. I have a guy who tells me, this podcast listener, he always says, he said, man, take this money, man, put it to somebody that needs it. He's like, because what you're going to do with that money more than likely is go off and trick it off during the week doing something stupid you don't need to be doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, you ready? That money I was about to trick off, I gave it to you.
Yeah.
See, so
And what I've been doing is, first of all, anybody who gave me anything.
Yeah.
One lady says, honey, I'm broke, but I'm giving you $70. $7. I just cried because she said, this is all I got. I've been going back to thank everybody. I've been giving them a because I don't want them to think I didn't know. I go back and thank them all. And I've also told everybody what's going on with the money. So far, the $5,000
you have
has only gone to the rent.
Yep, she ain't lying.
On to the rent.
Yep.
The orders I put aside to order the bookcases and getting the coffee stand and getting a little enclosed trailer for the bookmobile, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I'm keeping everybody
Very
up.
transparent.
Yeah, because the IRS is looking.
Yeah.
You know the IRS.
Oh, yeah.
They're not playing
And
this
I
round.
work with the federal government, too.
So you can't.
Oh,
They
yeah.
done pulled up my name.
Right.
Real quick.
You know what they did, right? They did.
Valinda Miller.
And she owes taxes already? Oh, my God.
You know, I was thinking Mr. Sanford Green, you should reach out to him. He's a Marvel comic graphic artist.
Oh, yeah.
And he was one of my teachers at Benedict. Oh. And he's from Charleston. So that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
And he just did a book, a graphic book with the kids from Benedict College. So if they could have a signing.
Yes.
At
Tell them to call
yeah,
me.
I'll give you his
your contact,
information afterwards.
But gosh,
Wonderful discussion.
wonderful discussion.
Yeah.
Thank you my day.
We got to do this again.
I know we got to wrap, but
yeah, we got to wrap.
what you reading right now, man?
All right, so right
Put
now,
you on the spot.
All right, so let me see, because there's a book on tape that I'm listening to that Kevin wanted me to listen to on Raekwon.
And that's how you know you a geriatric millennial when you call it a book on tape still.
Oh, stop.
No, books on tape is great.
Okay.
You can
all right.
support us by going to libro.fm
There you go.
to buy books.
Okay.
Get books on tape.
There you
All right,
go.
And then
You need to read Cass because the movie Origins is
Kevin
out.
was going crazy when
Yeah,
you were saying
that's
that
what
back there,
yeah.
telling us to read it. And then I'm reading something called Third Wave. It's about third wave and this is why I keep talking about generational stuff. I'm trying to understand different generations. It's a book from the 80s, but it's about the generational change, the shift from the 60s to 70s into the 80s, going into what our generation was trying to figure out what's wrong with us. So I'm reading that right now.
Yeah.
And then always try to keep a spiritual book on hand. So I got this spiritual book on magic, and so I'm reading.
You could just read the Bible.
I got the Bible, and I read
then
my little
you
Bible.
can-
I get my
They got
I read
a lot
my,
of spiritual books out there.
they do.
Everybody, I
do.
found the good Lord.
They do.
I know you did find him, but why are you still acting like a jackass? If you
No,
found
you're good.
him,
You're right. You're right.
if you found
You're right.
him, follow him.
You're right.
Stop
Yeah.
trying to
You're right.
change things.
Nah, seriously, we go too hard sometimes.
We
You
do.
go.
Oh, okay. What am I reading? I'm reading a lot of stuff. I've been very slowly going through Castaneda. I'm on like 4 or 5.
Ooh.
Books from the 60s and 70s. I'm really excited about the the Expanse series right now. James S.A. Corley. That's also a sci-fi movie,
Yep.
right, or
Yeah.
series right now. But I got into the books right before the series came out.
There you go. Get there quick. Get there quick.
Yeah, hipster. But they're very it's sci-fi, but it's like a very nuanced and in-depth world. There's a lot of description about how spin gravity feels different.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is as people leave Earth and Mars and live in space, they actually change and they become
body.
belters. They become tall people that can't live on them. And so it becomes this imperialism separation thing where now you got these people that are mining the asteroids to fuel the empires back on the inner planets, and then they start. Man, it's crazy. It's a crazy universe. But yeah, and then spiritual books. I'm doing the Mahabharata. I know
what you mean.
Yeah, the bigger book that's around the Gita.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I love the Gita.
Go ahead. What you
That
look-
changed me.
It changed you.
Yeah, the Gita. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
it's like open. I cried.
Right.
Yeah, I cried.
Yeah.
That's good.
Something.
Those books, like right now, I'm
so-
reading Thich Nhat Hanh. It's about not being afraid to die.
Yeah.
I love that book. And then I'm also reading a book about agriculture, like the food that we're eating.
Yeah.
And then another book about the art of touch. So like
Oh.
understanding like how you need physical interaction.
Dope. See?
Kama Sutra.
Oh!
That came out in the
That's-
1918. No, that came
Go
out
back.
in
Go back.
1800s.
Yeah.
Well, it's a translation
Go,
came
yeah.
out in 18.
Go back a little even further.
And that's about, touching,
Touching,
not
yeah.
not
Yeah.
Say it. That's what people don't
just
get.
touching.
Yeah.
It's not, it's about sex. No,
No,
it's about
touch.
touching and feeling and understanding your body and everything. And they just want to twist everything around.
Yeah.
You know why? Because they're trying to make things sexy.
It ain't working.
Things are sexy though. That's
Sexy.
the thing with the Kama Sutra is that like it's a understanding that like there's feminine energy and then like masculine desire to change and manipulate things and the way that interacts within us. So it's always sex with the universe,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
not dirty. It's just
Right.
But that's how they try to sell it.
Right. That's the problem. It's through in the wrong
But
context.
before we finish, we got to do this. I need you to drop your socials.
Social media. How can people find you?
Yes.
Oh.
And website.
Website.
Oh, okay. www.turningpagebookshop.com. Turning Books on TikTok. Turning Page on Instagram and Turning Page Bookshop on Facebook.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Excellent. Well, we're going to wrap up here. Excellent episode of the Hilltop Glow podcast.
well, thank you.
Excellent episode.
Yes.
I am DJ and what?
Mike.
Tamaya.
And our esteemed guest.
Valinda Miller.
Go ahead, bad self. That's what I'm talking about. We had a great time today. Until the next time, I want everybody that tell somebody that is next to you if you listen to somebody next to you. If not, go run and find somebody that you love and care about. Tell them that you love them and cherish them. And we will see you on the next episode.
Peace.
Peace.